Oh, it's like really bright here now. Look at that. It's so bright. Wish people would clean up after themselves. Oh, so we've got a Dakin. We have a few more support conversations. We have one with Kaze and Mozu. That probably shouldn't be too surprising considering how the last battle went. Mozu, what are you doing sitting all alone by the river? Oh, hey there, Kaze. I'm just peeling and washing these potatoes. I see. In that case, would you mind if I helped you? Oh, no, that's okay. Really. This is my job. Nonsense. I have nothing better to do. And I'm really quite good at it, I promise. What? You are? I am. Here, just give me one of those. And 1, 2, 3. Gosh, you're fast. It looks like you might even be better than me. I used to cook a lot. Strange as it sounds, it was part of my training regimen. Oddly enough, my master also had me paint fences and polish armor. Is that a freaking Karate Kid reference? To at least the painting fences. I don't know about the polishing armor. Oh, it is a Karate Kid reference, because instead of armor, it'd be like polishing cars. I haven't seen Karate Kid in forever. My master also had me paint fences and polish armor, except because there's no cars, it was polish armor here instead of polishing cars, because it was the wax on, wax up. There's gotta be a freaking... I swear I'm not losing my mind, right? Household chores have a prominent role in Hashidan martial arts training. I see. And here I was thinking I must be the best potato peeler in camp. To tell you the truth, it's a little disheartening to get one-upped like this. I see. Well, if you'd ever like my help, please don't hesitate to ask. I'll teach you everything I know about the preparation of root vegetables. You do that for me? Thanks, Kaze. I appreciate it. I'll hold you to that, though, you hear? Yes, of course. Alright, so there was that, and we also have an Orochi and Rinka one, apparently. There you are, Rinka. Been looking for me, Orochi. Why? Ugh, what's that awful stink? Gamer girl bath water. I brought a potion that will help me look into your future. Let's start. What? Who said I wanted you poking around in my life? I come here offering this in friendship, and you refuse. I don't need your help. I'm from the Flame Tribe. We divine fate our own way. We use fire, and I trust fire. Fire to read the future. If you must know, we drip oil onto a plate, and place a strip of paper on that, and then light it up and read our fate in the shapes as it all burns. We do this to prepare for battle. Only for battle? Only, yes. You seem surprised. Then you do need me. I can tell you your non-battle fortunes. Unnecessary. There's nothing worth knowing about outside of battle. There's so much life outside of battles. Fate's not about fighting. Wait, Fire Emblem Fates is not about fighting. You heard me. I'm not interested. Wait, Rinka. Ugh, that girl is going to get burned without my help. Well, that's the support conversations we have for now, unless we can get one from here. Kaze? Well? You're so talented on the piano. I wish I was talented on the piano. I wish I could learn that freaking keyboard I have over there. My, oh my.
Please,
well.
Let me know if there's anything I can do to aid you in your quest for peace.
Will do. Will do indeed. Don't worry about that. Harmonia and Kaze's relationship improved. Neato. Kaze left in high spirits. Well. Do we by chance? Nope, not yet. It's gonna take a little bit more before we become a support with Kaze. It seems like. So, Lilith's Temple. Let's go ahead and give you one of these. We grow beans, so they're naturally going to be the thing that we get the most of by a lot. Crunch, crunch, munch, munch. Get nice and high level. Oh, I guess I never actually explained what the point of leveling up Lilith is. So, something this game introduced was the ability to attack other players' castles as like a multiplayer feature. Being able to... There is a mode where you can verse other players directly, like taking turns with your units and stuff like that, trying to beat one another. But attacking other players' castles is usually about like fighting AI who's there and defending their castle. And it's like you could gain points for successful defenses of your castle with like your AI units that you place around your castle strategically. You would gain points for like successfully attacking other people's castles and yeah, something like that. I don't remember. I never did it a lot. But Lilith with her temple gives support to your units in my castle battles, and that's why you level her up and stuff. Ooh, gambling. Welcome. Feel like living your fate to the gods today. Let's go. Let's do it. Come on. I know you're looking at me like I'm crazy. I promise I'm sane, and I promise I'll go to sleep here soon. Oh, we were actually lucky this time. Never mind, that sucks. That wasn't even that good.
Thanks for visiting.
Well, whatever. Whatever, I guess. Hold on a hot second. Something I wouldn't mind having a look-see at here is, can we do that the same thing with Azama that we did for Sakura? And just, you know, get him up there with Azura? Maybe? Like, wait, we have a new building? Oh, we have access to the prison now, which means that there might be capturable bosses from this point forward. Maybe. Alright, so... Hold on. We might rearrange things here a little bit. Hold on. Wrong button. Buildings. Let's make something interesting. Let's go ahead and build. Yeah, because the smithy is going to be one of those important ones, you know? Can you rotate? No. Okay, well, whatever. Yeah, let's put this down here. Build the smithy. And then as we move things... So yeah, we can go into the smithy there. Maybe we just have, like, all those shops, like, along this way, like that. Could be nice. I don't know. Maybe something like that. And then we have things like the mess hall and lottery shop and whatnot over here. I don't know. Something like that. And then accessory shop we can have down here with like other shops and stuff, I guess. Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and do that. Cool. Hashiden Glade. Sure. It's decorative and such. And then prison. Hold 2 prisoners for recruitment and crit +5 to defenders and castle battles. Where are we gonna put the prison at? Somewhere like the corner on its own. Out of the way and stuff. Yeah. So that means that now that we have a prison, then we should be able to capture enemies, which I never really did that much of, but I know that you can capture like uniquely named bosses and stuff like that. So if you want like a true 100%, I guess that would entail getting all capturable bosses as well. Something like that, most likely. Okay, let me just see here really quickly if we can do the thing. Chapter 9 is going to be Land of Gods. Harmony and company continue their rescue mission toward the kingdom of Izumo. We can do the first castle invasion. Level 10. We want to do that? Oh. Castle invasion? Invasion 1 castle. Maybe. I can only bring 7, and there's a bunch of them. Maybe I'd have to wait until like we level up the castle some more, because it seems a little sketchy in our current state. And it seems like everyone's spawn locations are based off like being in front of main buildings and stuff. Yeah, we can worry about that another time, but for now, let's see here. So, Dragon's Gate. I want to see if we can do the same thing for Azama that we did for Sakura. And I think off camera, I'm going to have a look at... I'll transfer my save file over to my actual 3DS so that I can connect to, you know, the Nintendo Wi-Fi network and yada yada. And I'll see, assuming that it's still supported for this game, I think it should be, right? I don't see why it wouldn't be, I hope. If I can visit other players' castles, then I'll see about, you know, if I can pick up heart seals, or just seals in general and stuff like that. Oh, I need to go back to the Ghostly Gold and get some experience there. Before the next session, we might have done some grinding, as would happen during our Fire Emblem Awakening playthrough, is I would grind between sessions and stuff like that, and pursue new builds, and like flesh out some of our new units that we received and stuff like that. So I might wind up doing something very much like that for this game. I mean, that was my plan with this game from the beginning. To make the progress in that kind of way, you know? So, next time we might have a few more levels and such. And I wish I could showcase, like, visiting other people's castles right now after transferring my save data. But I can only do that on my new 3DS, not my old 3DS that I have there. And I forgot my new 3DS out of town was a thing. So, like... Whenever my family visits this lake cabin out of town again, I'll freaking find my new 3DS wherever I left it out there. At least I hope I left it out there since I can't find it anywhere here. And then we should be able to showcase things that could only be done from a physical 3DS with this game. and such. Is what we will do. Yeah, I think we're gonna... I don't think I'm gonna max Azama out completely on stream here. Like, there's no reason to do it, like, on camera when it can be done off camera. We've already proven that's possible with Sakura anyway. We'll just do this, like, run through, essentially. And then I'll probably wind up maxing him out off camera. But yeah, so we will be getting, like, a couple levels here and there off camera. I won't ever try to, like, become so horrendously OP that everything becomes a breeze. I say as I freaking max out Azama and Sakura by doing this. But I will gain, like, a couple levels with a lot of my weaker characters, especially. And something that I do like about the grinding missions of this game is they do scale around your current story progress, unlike Fire Emblem Awakening, where it's like, you unlock the grinding map, time to become maxed out, as long as you have, like, Master Seals and Second Seals and stuff like that, which I guess there's a limited amount of until a certain point in the game, but, like, for all intents and purposes, you can basically max out your characters immediately, whereas in this game, it scales around, you know, your current progress in the story, so you can't just immediately max out your characters unless their name is Azura. I mean, level 40 isn't maxed out. Well, it's maxed out for, like, us being able to gain EXP for now. We'd have to get Eternal Seals later to expand our level cap and such. So yeah, it does very much seem like that is possible with Azama as well. Oh, maybe I do want to do this on camera, because we're going to build up support conversations, and just like Fire Emblem Awakening, I wouldn't want to showcase support conversations off camera, because, you know, it's part of the playthrough and stuff. Okay, we're going to be here longer than I expected, never mind. Azama, you've been staring at me for ages. Is there something you wish to say? Lady, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. Oh, pray tell. It's undeniable that you play a rather significant role in our army. Thank you, Azama, but I don't understand what you're getting at. You have earned the trust of all and are also expected to inspire our people. What's more, you work tirelessly in hopes of restoring peace to this world. At a glance, no one could fail to see that you are basically representative of our entire army. Yet I wonder, don't you harbor something different in the depths of your heart? Something different? Yes, something very dark and very deep in your heart. Something most would not even begin to imagine just by looking at you. You wish to save the world, yet there's also this secret corner of your soul. There you feel that nothing can be done to help, and that the future can't be altered. Sometimes I'm quite sure that you and I are very similar in that respect. That's the feeling I get when I look at you. Tell me, am I wrong? It matters not, as I have no obligation or inclination to discuss my feelings with you. Oh my, she's run off. Well, guess it's just me now. Yeah, I guess we are going to be here a bit longer because, you know, support conversations and stuff would be on camera. Hi, should you accessorize? Do you have any accessories you can give? Oh, we should visit the accessory shop. Is what we should do and see, like, what we can do about that.
So, yeah.
Okay, those two can't even have support conversations with one another, so their bond would normally get closer there, but it didn't because they can't. Welcome to the shop. Have a free round glasses. Welcome to thank you for coming to our shop. Have a free round glasses. Well, I remember there being like a few options for things here, but you know, there usually not being a whole lot of spicy stuff. Oh, and it always takes like food and materials, which is something that I could like acquire at other castles more readily, which I guess is another reason for me to transfer my save file to my 3DS off camera and try visiting some other castles and build up some of these things. I do wish that there were, you know, more options for all sorts of things and yada yada yada. But at least there's some options. If I recall, is this something that even appears in battle? Because I'd love to just freaking go into battle with the freaking bath towel for the memes, you know? But, okay. We got our round glasses. What do those look like? Can barely even see from here. Freaking, our zoom? They're barely even noticeable. They're so thin. Even in freaking HD in Citra, you can barely notice them. Jeez.
See ya.
See ya. Let's give Lilith some food. Let's feed Lilith as we do. Fine, take some beans. I'm producing a lot of beans around here. Yeah, I'll try transfer my save file to my 3DS, to my regular 3DS, visiting a bunch of castles and doing stuff with that, as well as freaking transferring my save file back is what I wanted to say, but words are hard. Well, yeah, I prepared those beans. Yeah, I totally did. Yeah, that's me. That's totally me. Harmonia the Bean Preparer. Dragon's Gate. Yeah, I guess we'll get to at least a support with Azama and Azura. Is what we shall do. Is the plan. I mean, starting next session, we do have enough of an army at this point that several of my units who I will be pairing off with one another are in my army at this point. Like, for example, I was mentioning earlier in the stream how I was planning on probably putting together Silas and Hannah. I think if I... Let me double check my spreadsheet to make sure I'm not lying about that. Yes, indeed. Like, Silas and Hannah is a duo that I'll be running, for example. So, you know, I will potentially think about next session already setting up some of our pairings to, you know, happen and such. We'll see. We'll see. I'll consider it and such. Like, if we do missions like this and do things like this that I'm doing right now, that, you know, grinds up a lot of support and yada yada. Like, not every unit can heal, so we wouldn't be able to, you know, always do this kind of thing, but, yeah, so you should go after her, and that just gives her Naginata practice, so, like, fine. That's completely fine with me. When is she gonna reach level D with that, anyway? It's gotta be close, right? She's getting there bit by bit. Yeah, let's, I guess this is gonna be on camera after all, for no other reason than support conversations are the things that I don't want to do off camera, because it's basically like story stuff, you know. I'll make progress like grinding towards things off camera and just like making myself stronger, but I never want to showcase like actual content off camera, you know. So we'll do this until at least a support, I guess. And I think, if I recall from doing this in the past, as it's coming to me, I think that you get a new support conversation for every 2 times you do this. I think. I don't remember. I might be getting confused with something else. Maybe. So I don't think we're gonna get a support conversation after this next attempt, but rather the one after it, most likely. Most likely. And now that I've remembered that this is a strat that you can do, you can bet that once we do freaking Conquest route and we get healers in that I will almost certainly be doing this exact same thing in Conquest, you know? And for like any other healers we get here. Yeah, it's staff grinding as well. It's grinding a few things. So it's grinding our weapon proficiency with staves, it's grinding our actual experience points and leveling us up, and it's also grinding our character affinity. So in a way, this is grinding 3 things at once. So why not do it? Why not do it, you know? May as well. May as well do it. More free stats. I'll take it. Look at that. Sweet. Thank you. Thank you. So we're technically grinding 3 things at once, so it's definitely productive to do, to say the least. So we're gonna do it a bit here. I know that it might be like hella boring and such, but this is life now. This is a taste of freaking playing Fire Emblem Fates as me, essentially, because, you know, it's been a long time since I've played Fates, but it's coming back to me bit by bit. This is something I did back in the day, is went onto that exact patch right there and did that. And that's what we're going to be doing. That is exactly what we're going to be doing. So I don't think we'll have a new support conversation from that. I don't think. Yeah, so after we do that one more time, we should be able to get up to B with those 2. They're not pairing off with each other, by the way, but, you know, we may as well see their conversations just for the sake of it and such. Wrote that to me. No, wait, just chill there and stuff. Okay, well, skip the thing. And yeah, this is life now. Just like it was with Sakura. If I do manage to, like, I will be doing some more of the I'll probably be doing a bunch of the Ghostly Gold especially map off camera to like build up our funds so that just like Fire Emblem Awakening, we hopefully wouldn't have to worry about running low on funds anytime soon. And if I can visit other castles to get master seals, then during the next session, we probably promote Azama as well. But as it stands, I only have the 1 more Master Seal, in my convoy until, you know, we progress much further in the story. And if that one more is all I can get, then I'll save it probably for like my unit or something like that. But if I can pick up more from other castles, which I think I can, I'm not 100% certain, but I think I can, then we'll wind up promoting Azama probably at like the beginning of next session or something. Most likely, if that is an option for me. I forget what his other class set is. So he has the monk class set. And then what's the other one? To go into Onmyoji slash Great Master, I believe. Hold on, let's check my spreadsheet here. What's his other class set again? His other class set, where is he? His other class set is Apothecary. Oh, that means that he naturally gets access to Replicate. Spicy. Very spicy. Since Apothecary can lead into Mechanist, and Mechanist is the thing that gets Replicate, which is one of, if not the most busted skill in this whole game, because you essentially have that unit take up, you replicate them. So there'd be 2 Azamas on the map, and they have shared health, so if like one takes 10 damage and the other takes 10 damage, and they have 20 health, and they both die, for example. But, you know, having your unit now be able to be in 2 different places at once, and do 2 different actions at once, is freaking game-changing, and I don't know why it's in this game. Like, it's absolutely absurd how crazy busted it is, quite frankly. Well, I guess we got the one more heal here that'll bring us to level 13. Come on, please be something nice.
Oh?
Okay, bit by bit. His stats are, like, very even, it seems, so far. Like, not any one particular thing growing, and that's pretty alright. That's alright in my book. It's better than, you know, my units who never grow in one particular thing, and then I freaking hate seeing them never grow in that one particular thing, you know? Kind of like how Azura gained very little defense on her way to, you know, her level 40 thingamabob that she's currently at and such, you know? So, I mean, go here. We have another support conversation, so... Ooh, no! Oh, thank goodness it gives you the extra prompt. Oh, thank goodness for that. Greetings, milady. How are you on this fine day? You're as duplicitous as always, aren't you? You've made it clear enough that you care nothing for my feelings or well-being. Ah, how well you know me. Delightful. Please don't tell me you intend to carry on our conversation from the other day. Naturally. I absolutely must know all about the inner darkness you keep hidden away. After all, you and I may yet be 2 of a kind, wouldn't you say? I'm not so sure of our similarity, but say you are right about me. What then? I would share my newfound knowledge with everyone and eagerly watch their reactions. It's always fascinating to see someone's true demeanor surface. I see. Well, I suppose how you choose to conduct yourself is none of my business. Still, more than ever, I have no intention of ever sharing my thoughts with you. Wait, please wait, milady. What is it now? What if I promise not to tell anyone of your inner life? Will you tell me everything? If so, I may consider keeping your innermost secrets just for myself. You take me for a fool. I have no reason to believe anything you say. You fascinating creature. Now I'm all the more curious about you. Well, there's that. Let's go ahead and save. As we do, route the enemy. And we continue with our shenanigans here. I think we just have to do this 2 more times. Like, I don't think that'll get me to level 20, but it should get us to A support, and then I'll just do the rest of the progress to level 20 off camera, because this is probably hella boring, honestly. This is probably hella boring to watch if I had to guess. Like, I'm the one doing it rather than watching it. But if I had to guess, watching it is probably not the most entertaining thing. Man, she's so close to freaking getting D and Naganatas. So close to finishing off E rank and finally being able to wield a freaking iron weapon. Oh, speaking of iron weapons, Mozu needs an iron weapon now. I completely forgot about that until that reminded me. I need to go through my inventory in general. Like, Kaze still has that Seraph robe. I think my commentary makes up for it. Well, I'm glad to hear it. It's so hard to, like, continue coming up with, like, new stuff to say when all that's happening in game is, like, more and more of the same, you know? Just the same thing over and over again. Like, there's been a lot of things that have been really cool about being a content creator, a lot of things that have been really challenging about a content creator, a lot of things I didn't realize would be as hard when I started getting into, like, doing streams and videos a few years ago. I think one of the hardest parts of being a content creator is coming up with new things to say while what's going on is just the exact same thing over and over again. Like when gameplay is constantly changing and we're constantly like doing things and progressing and stuff like that, I'll have plenty of things to say about like that current situation and predicament and yada yada. But when it's just more of the same, then like I'll run out of things to say about the thing happening in question, and then I'll come up with other things to talk about, like how hard it is to talk about things when it's more and more of the same. Feel it happens to you a lot when you talk to your boyfriend, especially when you're tired. Yeah, I just can't come up with like the right things to say. I always worry about like in conversations with people in general that like I'm not asking the right questions or stuff like that, or I'm not like engaging in the conversation in a meaningful way. Like I recently got into a conversation with no, hold on, whoa, wait, inventory, let's fix this for a hot second. Take things. You literally just stopped speaking English after 3 a.m. I understand that feel. I understand struggling with words and that feel, and my motto in life is why use many word when few word do trick. Absolutely. My freaking motto there. What else do we need to change? You need something iron is what you need. Put that all away. Do we have a spare iron thing? No. I'm probably pretty broke. Do we have... This is the smithy.
Thank you.
We'll do stuff in the smithy later. Can I afford something iron?
Ah, you're back.
Ah, you're back. Ah, well... Come on. Yes, we can afford one. Here you go, Mozu. Now you can poke people even harder. That came out wrong. Don't store, equip. There, nice. Look at that. We'll go from 4 to 6. Cool. Cool. Also, while we're here, we may as well gamble and such. What was I gonna say? Caveman talk TM. Absolutely. Wait, before I tell my story, we're gonna do the Dawn Lottery. Come on, darn you. So recently beans! I grow beans! I don't eat beans! My goodness. Recently I got a DM from another parasol. I have like 3 of those. I got a DM from somebody from my game design class that I'm currently in, which is a game design class on tabletop games and such. And they reached out to me, DM'd me, being like, hey, I remember you saying something about you saying in one of our game tests or something that you did like voice acting and stuff like that on the side. Do you mind if I ask you like what that's like, because I have a friend who's like interested in that kind of thing? And I was like, you might be getting me confused for someone else. Like, I do commentary on things, and like I make video essays, I do commentary on things, and I've here and there I'm a Smash commentator, but I don't know if I'd count myself as I'd love to pursue voice acting one day. I think it'd be really cool. What did we just get? What the heck? Hold on. Whoa, wait. What did we just get? No, dang it. Good for follow-up attacks, +3 effective speed. Okay, cool. Yeah, sure. We'll have that around. And she had apologized a whole bunch and be like, oh, I'm sorry that I got you like mixed up there. I might have misremembered. And I was like, well, I'm still like down to talk about the stuff that, you know, I do though. And we wound up having a bit of a conversation about, you know, some of that stuff and whatnot. But I don't know, I struggle to talk to like new people. It's like I want to, but part of me worries that I'm gonna like derail the conversation by like, I don't know, freaking somehow. I've just always had social anxiety in a way that I can't really describe and such. Can these two even support one another? Nope. But yeah, same LMAO, you ramble so easily. Yeah, and I was like, oh, I can talk about the things that, you know, I do. And she was like, oh, sure, that'd be interesting. Like, what's this stuff with video essays, and what's this stuff with like tournament commentary? And I was like, well, you see. And I literally typed a message that was like the limit of Discord's character limit. And after I sent it, I looked at it, I was like, oh, I'm so sorry about the 5-page essay that I just sent you. So that's probably one of my biggest worries, is rambling. And I mean, at least on stream like this is like my hub for rambling. This is like the place that I can come and feel like I can just ramble to my heart's content, you know? Like, if I want to ramble, I open OBS and I hit start streaming and I start rambling, you know? Like I am right now. I have a place that I can ramble, but whenever I'm outside of that place that I ramble, I worry that I'm gonna wind up rambling about freaking something that winds up, you know, making someone think that I'm just some freaking weirdo who does nothing but ramble and freaking I mean, anybody who sees me on stream might think that I do nothing but ramble. And maybe that is the case a lot of the time. I don't know, but you know, rambling is definitely one of the biggest potential ways for me to scare someone off. Okay, we still can't get a support with Kaze, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get it. No, not chapter 9. We're gonna save that for next session. We're just gonna wrap up stuff with Azama and Azura and whatnot, and then we're gonna wrap up this session because it's freaking 4 in the morning. I'm out here rambling about things instead of getting the sleep that my body would probably prefer, because I am absolutely insane. I'm some insane nerd who's out here playing video games, is what's going on here. Go ahead and save, and then freaking... I used to be really fast at doing this, like on my 3DS. I think I'm faster at doing this on like keyboard, especially after I got so used to freaking keyboard from playing Fire Emblem Awakening. Like, I'm so used to the buttons at this point that I can do it so fast. But yeah, I felt that always worried that someone's gonna view as a... Is that supposed to say like narcissist there? Because yeah, I struggled for a long time in elementary school to junior high, where it just kind of seemed like any time that I'd really speak up or, you know, try to be part of the conversation, that the people that I knew would just kind of be like, and then like move back onto like what was being talked about like just before I spoke up, or like the sentence that someone had said just before. Then I was like, oh well, I guess no one really ever wants to hear my opinion. And with these groups of people, I would start only speaking when spoken to and wind up talking like maybe once a week or something like that. So it's like, I don't know, it's like I have these two different personalities where it's like, this, for example, is like what I would call my real personality, the way that like I really would be, and yada yada. But with, you know, in person, I'm a lot more to myself. I'm a lot more of a social recluse. I'm the guy who will sit in like the corner of a freaking room and not talk to anybody, and yada yada. Like, it's not as bad as it used to be. I used to be like really, that used to be like a really big problem for me. Nowadays, it's just like, it's the way things are. Like, I'm not completely opposed to talking to people or anything like that. Like, if somebody starts talking to me, I'll gladly start a conversation. Or if I see somebody needs help with something, then like I'll reach out to them and start talking. Like, I met this one girl in my first year of university, for example. For that very reason, I saw that she was struggling in our computing science lab, so I started talking to her, being like, hey, would you like some help with that kind of thing? And we wound up becoming study buddies, essentially. So like, if I see someone needs help with something, I will definitely, you know, speak up and such. If someone speaks to me, if we're forced into a situation together, or someone needs help, those are the 3 situations I'll speak up and such. And Hawk's great stream, but you gotta go was lurking for the most part. I'm sleepy. Have a fantastic stream. Also, you would be great at voice act. I appreciate the kind words there, Hawks. I appreciate the kind words. I hope you have a good rest of the night. Hope you enjoyed the lurk. And after we get to Abe support here, we're gonna freaking wrap up the stream as well. Same, when it's not something you're passionate about, usually just sit and listen. Got used to it though. People say they liked having a good listener. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, I'm like a mix of both sometimes. I feel like mostly when I have this kind of personality or persona, I do worry about getting carried away and just rambling. But in person, I'll typically be like much more defensive, much more guarded, and I'll only let like this side of me out when like I've really warmed up to somebody and know that I'm not gonna scare them off with like my over energetic excitementness. Like, if like I can't, it's hard for me to try to visualize or try to replicate what I would be like, you know, in person, especially with COVID having gone on for so long. But something that I would be more akin to in person, it's maybe something more like that, like maybe a little bit slouched, maybe not really paying attention to a whole lot of things. Maybe I'm just like absorbed in like something that I'm doing on my own computer, not really paying attention to like other things, and like somebody says something else and I'll look over and maybe acknowledge it, but then I'll kind of go back to like my own thing and not really speak up a whole bunch. And a lot of this developed from a lot of the group that I grew up with, just, you know, not, you know, being that inclusive to anybody who wasn't in like the super popular group, I guess. And, you know, it was a group that I grew up with because there were very few German bilingual schools in our city, and we were all in like the German bilingual program. So I knew most of the same people throughout like before kindergarten to grade 12. you know, a lot of the same group. And I have talked with a lot of them nowadays, and it does seem like they have like very much changed and matured and like really, you know, respect me a lot more than they did back in the day. So that's like really cool to see for, you know, the ones that I still know here and there nowadays that go to my university and such. So that's cool at least. But I was in a bit of a like really deep depressed slum for feeling like nobody cared about me for a long time. And it was actually in a German exchange trip where there was one year where it's like our German class will go to Germany and stay a couple weeks with our German exchange partners, and then our German exchange partners will come here and like spend a couple weeks living with us and yada yada, and we get to experience Germany, they get to experience Canada, and like so on so on. And the person who actually wound up, you know, helping me start finding the light out of that slum was actually my German exchange partner, where at like basically every single event about like this trip or basically anything going on really, oh, we can get to that then, all right, basically any event going on with like the class, I'd always just like sit in the corner, never speak up, be completely to myself, and just want to be alone and not be involved with anything. My German exchange partner, he freaking came up to me, asked if I was okay. I was like, yeah, I'm fine, you just go do your own thing. And after I wouldn't answer those questions, he freaking sat beside me in my freaking lonesome corner, and he was the one that refused to leave, and he just freaking sat there with me for like 2 hours in complete silence just so I wouldn't be alone. And I was like, oh my goodness, the world isn't just, you know, awful people after all, huh? Like, there's plenty of people who really do genuinely care. And this is somebody who I'd only known for like a week or something by that point because of, you know, this whole exchange trip. And, you know, I still talk to him sometimes to this day. He comes to the stream sometimes, is the thing. He sometimes comes into my Fire Emblem streams, especially during Three Houses when that was going on. Because of the time difference over in Germany, he'd just wake up and come into the stream and be like, you're really still awake doing that. So like I still talk to him and stuff nowadays. Calgro's Dart, isn't that one like snazzy and stuff? So yeah, I was in a bit of a slum for a long time when it comes to like my antisocialness, but you know, luckily I had somebody who, you know, showed me that the world wasn't completely dark in, you know, a really impactful kind of way like that. But you know, I still have the natural defensiveness that I did from back then. Like, I'm not gonna be completely opposed to, like, talking to anybody ever or anything like that. I'm not gonna be, like, sitting in my super depressed corner feeling like I'm worth nothing most of the time. But I still have a lot of this natural defensiveness that I built up over the years that I was, you know, in those kinds of times. Like, I don't share the same feelings nowadays that I did back then of like completely hating myself and yada yada. Like that's mostly over, but I still have like the old habits. Like old habits die hard. I still have like this natural like defensiveness and reclusiveness that was built up over the course of like years that was going on, that I don't know if that's gonna go anywhere. That's just kind of like my natural defensiveness now, where it's like once I've really gotten to know somebody and know that I'm not gonna scare them off, I'll let this side of me out where I'm like energetic and freaking rambling like crazy and always super excited about everything going on. But otherwise I'm more so like this, and I'm like, hey, well, I'm just gonna do what I came here to do and not really bother interacting with people and yada yada. So there's that. Hold on, let me see all the stuff that I missed here. And Touch Guys, say you listen and observe a lot, and then you open your mouth and you make an idea of everyone. You'd say that it's being teenage in a nutshell. Who you are, who cares about you, and completely understand that thing. And holy shit, that's a trooper of a friend. Glad you're feeling better since that time ain't a fun mental place. Yeah, it definitely really isn't. It's rough kicking the can if it goes anywhere. It's taking years, hard as that is. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to honestly like drop that defensiveness in general, just because of like, I don't know, it's just what I'm like used to, and you know, is like my natural thing now. And it's not like I never get to pursue this other side of me. Like that's something that pursuing streaming has like really helped me with. I can stream and I can pursue this freaking like loud, rambling, energetic side of me that just wants to freaking play video games and laugh and have fun and, you know, make people laugh around me and stuff like that, you know, and put smiles on people's faces. Like that's a side that I can pursue with streaming, and I feel like for that reason, becoming a streamer and a content creator has been really impactful in my life in a really positive way, luckily. And I know several other people who have described streaming as being therapeutic. And I mean, there are some people in some cases, like in person, where I do get into like this kind of persona essentially, but only people that I'm like really, really, really comfortable around over a long time and such. Whereas when I want to just like pursue that side and just like be energetic and excited about things and just like have fun and stuff like that, then I just open up OBS and I hit like start streaming and I go live and I make videos, and that's what I can get excited about without having to worry about, you know, people feeling like I'm not good enough, I guess. I don't know how to freaking describe things. But yeah, it takes so much effort, but you can tell that actually you can eat 3 of yourself 2 or 3 years ago, yeah, to, you know, advance and progress and stuff like that. When you take habits like that, it's so difficult. Yo, there's one story that I can share. Do I still have the boards around here somewhere? I used to have them on the shelf. No, I don't have them on the shelf anymore. But something very interesting, a story that I've told on the channel before, not in a while, but my headphone cord is wrapped up in my chair. How did this happen? Hold on. Ah! Free my cord here first. Something that happened in my Taekwondo school several years ago was my class was waiting for our class to start. Like, the class before us was going on, and the class that was going on was a children's class, and it was just after it had become a new year. I think it was either 2017 or 2018, the beginning of that. It was like the first week of 2017 or 2018, something like that, that this happened. And we saw that they were all getting to break boards, which is usually not something that you would do during normal classes. Usually it's just for testings, because, you know, boards cost money and such, so you're not gonna, you know, freely do that a whole lot, is the thing. But they were breaking boards, and on the boards they apparently had like New Year's resolutions of some kind. And when our class started and we got up there after all the kids had gone and like taken their boards home and yada yada, they had broken, the instructor told us that he had gotten the kids to write New Year's resolutions onto the boards and like bring the boards home as like a reminder of these New Year's resolutions and yada yada. And he asked our class, of like the adult class, like, when was the last time any of you made like a New Year's resolution? And a lot of us said like not in a long time. And our head instructor was saying, yeah, it very much seems like when you get to a certain age, you just start realizing that you're not really going to be able to keep your New Year's resolutions. So what he proposed to us, instead of for the new year making a New Year's resolution, instead focus on a habit that we want to break in a way that we want to better ourselves, essentially. Like, think about something about yourself that you're not satisfied about yourself because of, and something that you want to like get over and like break that kind of habit, essentially. So what he had us do is we all got boards, and we were each given like a pen to write on the board, and we had to write on the board a habit that we wanted to break. And in the class we were supposed to break the board using a technique that like very much challenged us to like show that these habits aren't easy things to overcome. Like, it's not the kind of thing that can be done just like that. It's something that does take years and years of work to, you know, get past, but you need to have that willpower to be able to get past it, which is why we had to break these boards with, you know, a technique that, you know, that really challenged us and such. So what I wound up writing on my board was thinking too much about how others think of me. Like, just, you know, basing so much of myself and my character off of how I think others view me and such. And like, I broke the board, I brought it home. I used to have it on the shelf somewhere, I don't know where it is, but yeah, our instructor basically told us like, hey, like, if you want to make New Year's resolutions, great, but you know, something that could be an interesting new perspective to take instead of New Year's resolutions is just focus on something that you don't like about yourself, or you think that you could improve about yourself, and think about how you could potentially change that or work towards slowly making change in that kind of thing. And it's not going to be something that happens immediately. It's something that's going to take like a long time of working at. And ever since then, I've tried, you know, to work harder at not thinking and caring as much about how others think about me. Like, it feels like the kind of thing that's like never going to completely go away. But, you know, I feel like since then I have, you know, made some progress towards, you know, focusing mostly on, you know, how I view myself before focusing on how anybody else views me, and making sure that I'm proud of myself first and foremost before I care about if someone else thinks I'm weird or whatever. And I don't know, maybe I've lost a little bit of my defensiveness, but like, I don't know, it's there's that kind of story, essentially. But let's see here. Other stuff that I missed and such. have to be conscious of what you can bring to others, and that makes your strength and foundation yourself. I think. Swear you think that it's the wrong. Wait, how what? You threw this after your heart problems, and you were in the hospital at 21. You were like, you have to completely change. Turns out you weren't, and you were disappointed of yourself. Wait, like, there was a big physical issue that happened that you were in the hospital for? I'm sorry to hear about that, Touch Sky. I haven't been in the hospital for like anything serious before, but I did wind up injuring myself in a couple ways in Taekwondo, and I had to take about half a year of physiotherapy at the age of like 19 or 20 or something like that. I'm currently 22, so still recently, and I still have problems with like my left wrist. Once this lockdown is over, I'm thinking that I might wind up going back to physiotherapy again and figuring out what's wrong with my left wrist. I have issues with my left wrist, I have issues with my right hip. Those two things are things that I had issues with and probably wound up screwing up in some way in Taekwondo. And I don't know exactly what's going on with the left wrist. All I know is it's not a bone issue because I've had an x-ray on it and there was nothing wrong with the bones. It's, my doctor thinks that's something to do with, my doctor and physiotherapist thinks that's something to do with the ligaments, is that I've probably screwed up, and apparently that takes a long time to heal, and it's had a long time to heal, especially during quarantine, without like, you know, exerting it or pushing it in any way like I would in like Taekwondo classes or whatnot, since I've taken a step away from those because of the lockdown and such. And yet I still have the problems that I do, and now I worry that my left wrist might always just be like kind of screwed up and weird. But yeah, but I mean, now it's been what, 1 or 2 years that you're thinking completely differently. Don't want to change yourself, but share the strength you have, and so by doing that you develop self-confidence and stuff. Well, it's good to, I'm glad to hear that it's helped, you know, develop that kind of self-confidence. I would still argue that I probably have more absence of self-confidence than I do self-confidence, if that makes sense. If it was like a percentage of like what percentage of not confident in oneself and what percentage of confident in oneself, I'm probably still more so towards like not confident in myself at all. And well, I don't know, it's a complicated situation. It could be an interesting topic to just like have a stream for rambling on one day, but I don't know, not tonight, I don't think. Not tonight. It's a, I don't know, but it's a bit of a situation. Still in the average level of it, but yeah, like there's also some subjects with my self-confidence where it's like, there's things that I'll talk about with close friends, but things that I'm not sure about myself if I bring up on stream or not, about the way that I view myself, and, you know, roadblocks that I've hit and things that I struggle to do and yada yada. But I guess surface level, I could just say like, hey, there's a bunch of things where it's like, I'm constantly questioning whether people freaking think I'm any good at anything, I guess, but it's neither here nor there for the purposes of Fire Emblem Fates here, I guess. But yeah, I want to ask, you were working as a cook and you burned up. I'm sorry to hear about that. That's, I don't know how to put things into words, quite frankly, a lot of the time. Like, whether it's a joking situation or whether it's a serious situation, I still don't know how to put things into words a lot of time. Oh, geez. Well, that's not good to hear, that your boss was not treating you well and such. Yeah, that would definitely not be a big self-confidence booster there. Like, I've luckily only had, like, one bad job in my life so far, and that was one where it was a pyramid scheme, so, like, you know, it was best for me to get out of that as soon as I could. But like my 2 summer jobs I've had since then, I did one doing duct cleaning at Weiss Johnson, and like our boss would make fun of my partner and I, but like in joking ways where it's like poking fun that we all laugh about. Like, for example, when we were doing duct cleaning, for example, we would have this big vacuum truck and we would attach this massive like hose to a furnace to like help suck all the dust out of the ventilation system and such. And this hose was like always kept in its spherical shape because of these metal rings, and sometimes one of those metal rings would snap and then there would be like a pointy bit sticking out of the hose that you could like cut yourself and injure yourself on. So whenever these hoses were essentially trying to stab you, you would have to like cut off the metal bit that was poking out. And they were really hard to cut off. They were like very tough metal. You would have to like really work at it to cut that off, essentially, to get that off of there. So one day at the end of a work day, we're reporting to our boss, and my work partner says to our boss, like, he was reporting in and saying like, oh, but there's like a whole bunch of breaks in the hose and such, like a whole bunch of the spiky metal bits. So our boss just says like, oh, so go cut them off then. And my work partner says, but it's hard. And my boss looks over, he takes off his glasses, and he says to my work partner, okay, this can go one of two ways. Either you can go suck it up and go do it, or I'll go do it, make it look easy, and make fun of you for the next week. Which would you prefer? And my work partner says, I will go do it, as he holds his head down. So like, with the environment that we had there, we had our boss like constantly make fun of us, but like in joke ways that we were all like laughing about. Like he never meant it in malicious ways. The whole environment in the company that I was working at there was very much one where it's like, you know, we're all like joke making fun of one another. We're all poking fun at one another all the time and just, you know, trying to, you know, put smiles on one another's faces and, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, sounds like everybody's had it rough at some point. Yeah, and when it comes to something else, I'll talk about this in a second. Worked for 2 years for him, and he worked 50 to 60 hours per weeks. Yes, 50 to 60 hours per day. That makes much more sense. And that's the work world. I hear that apparently in physical labor jobs, like the one that I was in there, apparently it's like much more of a part of the world there, because of like, nobody likes going out there and doing like physical labor work, you know? So I hear that apparently that's a lot more of the environment there of like poking fun at one another, because, you know, then you have like other ways that you're making it, you know, fun and bearable and, you know, stuff like that. So apparently that's much more of the environment there. But yeah, when it comes to people having things rough, one thing about this channel that, you know, I mention it sometimes. It's in my stream description, but I mention it sometimes. I don't know when the last time I mentioned it was, but I've basically set out as like my goal with, you know, everything really is to try to make what impact I can, like help others in whatever way I can, make the world a better place, yada yada, all that jargon and such. So what I actually have in my Twitch description and what I mention to people sometimes is like, if anybody is having like some serious emotional issues or whatever issues in their life and they feel like they don't have anybody that they can reach out to, you know, be there for them and give them a ear, like lend them an ear for that kind of thing, then I will make time for that kind of thing. Like, I don't care whether you are a longtime viewer who I've known for years or whether you're like a lurker who I've never heard of before. If you need somebody who needs to like lend you an ear and listen to your problems and take you seriously, I make time for that kind of thing. Like, I always leave my DMs open for that kind of thing. We have a venting channel within our Discord, which is meant to be like a safe space for anybody who wants to like vent about whatever issues. And if somebody reaches out to me, like because they genuinely want to talk about something serious going on in their lives and they want to talk to me about that, then I make time for that kind of thing. Or if I see evidence of somebody, you know, seemingly struggling, I'll try to reach out to them and see what difference I can make. Like, for example, in multiplayer games like Dead by Daylight once before, we had somebody after a game who said that like he was gonna take his own life soon, for example. So I reached out to him and I immediately ended my stream because that wasn't, you know, something to put out there into the world, whatever conversation could happen. And we actually did get to talking, and he talked to me about how things had just been like really miserable for him lately, and like it had just been like one bad thing after another, and just, you know, complete and utter madness there going on with his life. But after a bit of talking about it and being like, hey, let's just take things one day at a time, and I promise that things will improve and get better and such. And it did seem, I think I heard from him a little while later of him, you know, thanking me for doing that and such. But yeah, so just to put it out there for anybody who doesn't know, who freaking wants somebody to talk to about something serious, I make time for that kind of thing. Whether it's in the middle of stream, like with that one case of me just ending stream on the spot to talk to this one person I've never heard of before to get that figured out, or somebody reaching out to me specifically off of like Discord or something like that, or even in the venting channel in Discord. Like, I try to make time for this kind of thing. But yeah, sounds about right. Wouldn't be who you are if not for what you've been through. Dang, that's pretty selfless of you. Well, I appreciate it. Like, I just know that I feel like the biggest motivator for me doing that is I described before how, like, I was in that freaking awful slum of freaking hating everything, and it was, you know, the selflessness of my German exchange partner, who I'd only known for a week by that point, genuinely caring about me and genuinely, like, wanting to see the best for me, that, you know, made me realize that, hey, maybe not everything's so awful in the world. And that, I feel like that event really inspired me to be like, hey, I should try to do for others what he did for me, you know? Try to be there for people the same way that he was for me, because not everybody's going to have somebody like I did that day. Like, I completely lucked out. He was some random stranger that had only known me for a week that wound up being the thing that wound up slowly opening the door to me not being so closed off to the world anymore, you know? But not everyone's going to have that kind of opportunity. I completely lucked out by meeting him when I did, you know? And part of me dreads what kind of state I could be in today if I had never met him, you know? So I try to, you know, be that for others, because not everybody is going to be lucky enough to have somebody who just shows up in their life to do that for them. And again, I dread what kind of state I would be in nowadays if I had never met him, you know? So that's essentially the reason for that. But the main reason that I brought it up was on the subject of people going through hardships and such. On mentioning that I make time for anybody to, like, reach out to me and, you know, talk about whatever issues, I've heard a lot of stories, like, from people sharing things with me over the past few years of doing this. Things that make my own times of, like, my own, like, dark times and times that I've been depressed seem like a freaking walk in the park in comparison. Some of the stuff that I've heard before has been, like, downright terrifying, quite frankly. And a lot of the time when I hear some things like that, part of me is, like, almost semi-paralyzed, being like, my goodness, how do I even respond to something like that? But I always try to, like, find a way to do so. But, you know, I feel like over the past few years of content creation, it has definitely especially showed me through, like, people who have reached out to me and have had serious talks with me about, it has really shown me about, like, how crazy freaking messed up so many different situations out there are, and how, like, I can look back at my own freaking times of hardship, but, like, there's all kinds of crazier things that are always going to be going on out there. I mean, somebody has talked to me about that subject before, saying, like, everybody's going to have, like, their own path, and they'll interpret different hardships different ways. Everyone has their own journey, and I don't know, it's a complicated subject there. But yeah, I feel like that's what things went between you and your BF nowadays. It's hard for you to lend an ear to strangers, especially online, but it's nice knowing it's helped people. Yeah, sometimes I'm sketched out about people online if they're trying to, you know, get something out of me in some cases. Like, sometimes people reach out to me purely for, you know, trying to advertise something or trying to scam me, but, you know, usually if there's, you know, serious subject matter involved, I'll usually give them the benefit of the doubt, and, you know, usually it turns out to genuinely be that they're going through some stuff. But yeah, I can understand the feel of it being hard to lend an ear and such. Like, someone that I know, I'm not gonna, like, name any names, but there's one close friend of mine online that I know who is, like, a really nice person and really wants to, you know, be the best person he can be and help others and stuff like that. But when it comes to, like, very serious subject matter of, like, some really deep kind of personal issues that someone's going through, that's the kind of thing that he'll wind up avoiding and hoping that somebody else is able to sort it out, because he's afraid that he's going to wind up making the problem worse by not knowing what to say. And I can definitely see that being, you know, a concern for a lot of people. It can be scary dealing with a lot of sensitive situations, like this kind of serious subject matter, especially online and such, where you don't know exactly how what you say is going to be interpreted. Was that a proper sentence? I don't even know. I'm losing my mind. It's really late. It's really late into the night. But, like, there are many people out there who, like, do genuinely want to, like, make a difference and such, and, you know, help others if they can, but are afraid of pursuing that kind of thing because of, you know, a fear of making it worse or getting involved with the situation or whatnot. And, you know, that's the kind of thing that I myself try to avoid, because what if there is nobody who steps up to the plate, you know? So there's that whole situation, I guess, with that thing. But yeah, I've definitely heard some very interesting stories over the years. And yeah, Yeah, that stuff's rough, and you've gotten pretty stressed over that stuff. Doesn't help that some people are ungrateful and essentially punish you for trying to help. Yeah, I mean, there have definitely been some cases where, like, I've seen somebody in, like, something, whether it be, like, a game that I played with them, or I see in some stream, and I just try to, like, genuinely reach out, be like, hey, is everything alright? Is it something that you'd like to talk about? And, you know, some people don't want help, and if they don't want help, that's fine. Like, for example, the one person from Dead by Daylight I was mentioning before, like, at first I thought that, you know, I probably wouldn't hear from them, that they probably wouldn't care to, you know, talk with me or anything like that. But the moment that I actually ended my stream to see if they would talk with me, they did, and it was, you know, I don't know, really humbling that they'd, you know, be willing to do that with me, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to describe that kind of thing. There's also some situations where it's like, I worry that maybe I didn't do enough for, like, certain people, or that, like, maybe things fell apart for them because I wasn't able to, you know, say the right things and stuff like that, so I can understand that fear with some people. Like, there's been a couple people that I've talked to over years of content creation who, you know, I grew close to and, you know, wound up having a lot of very serious talks with, who just have seemingly vanished off of, like, the internet as a whole nowadays. And there's one case in particular of a fellow close streamer friend who I knew for a couple of years who like, I had these kinds of serious talks with and had grown close with and yada yada, who eventually just vanished, like, completely off Twitch, completely off Discord, seemingly forever. And, like, I have no idea what really happened, apart from knowing that there was, like, a lot of stuff going on with their life and such. So I still try to, at least once every 1 or 2 months, I will still reach out to them in, like, DMs being like, hey, I hope things are going well. I know you've mentioned that things have been, like, tough and such. I hope that quarantine hasn't been too crazy. And I'll mention a little bit of stuff that's, like, you know, new updates with me and some of my own struggles, since, you know, that's stuff that we would have talked about together. And now this one DM that I haven't received anything back in for, like, 1.5 years is essentially some weird form of, like, journal entries almost with me, where it's like I'm reaching out to somebody who might be reading it, who might not be. It's essentially like a weird form of me, like, gathering my thoughts about, like, recent events and, you know, wishing the best back, and it's a weird situation. But yeah, know that too well. It's good to hear that you have a better luck with some situations. There have been some, like, there's that case with a person where, you know, DMs to them are basically just weird journal entries. And I've also got a weird predicament nowadays that I've been stumped on for a little while of this is something that I've mentioned in the venting channel of my server a bit, but there was this one girl that I knew in junior high school who was basically my best friend at the time, essentially, who saw me as something more than that, but it was a time that I wasn't ready for that in, like, my life yet, so I didn't, you know, share those same feelings of something more and such. But she was someone who was very much a social outcast of sorts, and it very much seemed like everybody thought that she was just, like, some weirdo that no one wanted to be around. Kind of like me, but to a greater extent, essentially. Like, we were both, like, two freaking weirdos that people didn't really seem to like, except people used to, like, actually harass her, though, and such. And it's like, I got close to her, and, like, we were basically best friends, and we were talking all the time and stuff like that, and I always felt bad because, you know, I knew that she was freaking really hurt about me not sharing, like, the same romantic feelings and such, and I still wanted to, like, you know, help find a resolution and end to the story and, like, a happy ending to the whole situation going on with her. But eventually she just moved away, and I couldn't really get into contact anymore, and that was basically, like, the end of that. And I don't really know what really happened from there. And I thought that was how things were going to be, and that's how the story basically was going to end, essentially. I never wind up hearing from her again. But a few weeks ago, somebody was talking with me being like, oh, do you have any other social media apart from, like, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter, and yada yada? And I was like, well, I technically have a Facebook from, like, forever ago, but, like, I haven't logged into that in forever, essentially. It feels like, barely even remember that it exists. And I went and checked out my page and was scrolling through some of the old stuff, and I noticed something from her that was on, like, this feed and such. I checked her profile, and she was still, you know, using the platform here and there nowadays. And I thought for so long that like I'd never be able to reach her again. And now all of a sudden I do have the means to do so. And I've been stumped for the past few weeks, being like, do I reach out to her? Do I apologize for not being able to be the support that she needed, which I still like feel regrets at? Do I leave it be because there's risk of like digging out, you know, painful memories or something like that, depending on how she views it? And I don't know about... I've been stuck on this freaking predicament for a while. I have like a whole freaking message thrown together, essentially, that I have saved on a notepad on my phone that I threw together like late one day when I couldn't fall asleep. And I've been debating for a while, like, whether to just leave things be or reach out. Reach out, apologize for not being the support that she needed, maybe not asking the right questions, and like, because part of me can't help but feel responsible for, you know, for moving away and, you know, having to just get away from it all. I don't know, it's a weird kind of situation where there probably isn't a right answer whether to reach out or leave things be and leave it in the past, you know. And I don't know, it's a weird situation. That's my current predicament that I'm dealing with when it comes to stuff with people who have had deep emotional problems. That's my biggest kind of, you know, thing that's going on right now. And yeah, I just kind of, sometimes I just stare at like the freaking text box of like send a message in here and like DMs that I'm like, do I use the tool that is now available to me, or do I just leave things in the past? I don't know if there's a right answer. I'm leaning towards reaching out, but like, I don't know what she'd think of me nowadays, if she'd still like see me as like a close friend and someone important to her, or if she'd like resent me nowadays. Not a clue. Not a clue. I don't know how things would have changed, but yeah, that's my current situation when it comes to, you know, trying to help others with emotional stuff. Here's someone that, you know, I wanted to help back then, but I didn't know the right questions to ask. I might not have given her the proper support that she needed. I may not have handled things the right way, and can't help but feel partially responsible for her just having to get away from it all and such. And part of me wants to, you know, have some closure to the story, have a proper end to that story, have some closure for both of us with, you know, me apologizing for not being the support that she needed and such. So there's that. We really got from one topic to another here, didn't we? Through a lot of different subjects. So yeah, there's that. I think we have another support conversation. Yeah, let's do something a little bit more lighthearted, wrapping up the stream with our last support conversation here with this. What's the final thing here, huh? So, I can't take the word seriously anymore. We've had too much of a serious discussion for me to seriously read out the freaking... Salutations, my lady. How are you feeling today? All is well, I hope? Once more, I must ask you to please stop bothering me with your false questions, or with false questions. All you really want to know is what secrets I'm keeping, not how I'm feeling, correct? You are quite mistaken. I care deeply about how your secret musings make you feel. Pardon. Here's my diagnosis, if I may be so bold. I suspect the reason you feel out of sorts is due to your broody and introverted nature. Whatever do you mean? You carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you bear that burden alone. Yet your heart longs to be free, and your mind craves the comfort of friendship. Don't you suffer from the unfulfilled desire to share your worries and sorrows? You're saying my heart wants to be free. Indeed. In fact, sharing what's on your mind is the only known cure for brooding. That same concept can be found in a variety of spiritual teachings, though it really it all boils down to the same thing. I think I finally understand you. You want me to share my troubles with you. You ought to have said so from the start instead of all this roundabout nonsense. You're simply worried about me. Is that it? I suppose that's one way to look at it, but you don't have to take it so positively. I just felt irritated by your anxious expressions, and I was bored. You really can't help yourself, can you? You're so spiteful. You don't really think that. You don't really think that. I see right through you, milady. As a spiritual man, I feel it's my obligation to speak truthfully, at times even bluntly. I see. In that case, I shall endeavor to do the same and share my thoughts with you. At first, I thought you were being intrusive for your own amusement. But now I must admit, I'm happy to learn you are simply worried about me. I will try not to be so guarded from now on, and learn to trust people a bit more. Is that sufficient for the time being? If it means you'll have a sound mind, I could not possibly ask for more. I believe it will. Thank you, Azama. Definitely, I don't know, definitely a way to wrap up our session here. That definitely went places I was not planning on going. How many hours do I have now? Okay, so we're after over 15 hours, especially after all that, like, Azura grinding off camera and such. But yeah, I do feel like streams like this, to just, you know, be able to talk about stuff like that, is also another thing that's probably, you know, good for me mentally, not bottling things up and such. But yeah, it's interesting having streams like this where, you know, we get into serious subject matter and such. And every time that we do get into serious subject matter on streams, it's like, I never expect it to happen. It's always during, like, the middle of some playthrough, in some wacky, unexpected moment, we somehow get to that subject, and then all of a sudden everything is like a serious talk. But that kind of thing can be healthy to have sometimes, though. Definitely can be. You are so tired, aren't you? Probably tired of me talking as well. Aren't you? But yeah, I'm gonna wrap up the stream there. It's pretty late. I'll do some grinding with Azama off camera and some other characters. We'll try to get a bunch more gold, and I'll try visiting some other castles off camera after I transfer my save file to and from my 3DS and such. And yeah, that's gonna be where we wrap things up. So thanks all so much who stopped by and hung out for another session of Fire Emblem Fates, and I'm gonna go pass out now, is what I think I'll do. Yeah, definitely getting pretty late. So yeah, I hope you have a fine day. I appreciate it. I mean, I'll be going to sleep here. Since, I mean, I could just stay up. It's 5 a.m. But I'm probably gonna go pass out, is what I think I'm probably going to do. So thanks all so much who stopped by and hung out for our shenanigans here and whatnot. Next time will be whatever happens next time. We'll see. Take care.